Dear Mom, I doubt you'll ever see this, but it wouldn't change anything if you did. I love you so much and I miss you every day, but I hate who we have become. I had a great childhood. We had our ups and downs like any family, but I felt loved by you. I remember us singing in the car every time we went somewhere. I remember you giving me hugs and singing You Are My Sunshine. I remember sitting next to you every night at dinner time because you were my favorite person to be around. I remember you teaching me how to cook and reading books to us. I remember being excited to go home and hang out with you / tell you about my day. It was a pretty good childhood and you guys did a damn good job of making sure we were happy, fed and loved. But when I met my partner 5 years ago and everything changed for the worst. They were one of the best things that have ever happened to me, but I guess it was one of the worst things to happen to you. I know I did things that hurt you and I regret those moments, but you haven't stopped hurting me these past 5 years. I have tried to talk to you about this for several years, but you have refused to listen to me. When I told you that Dad was bullying me every day, you dismissed me and my feelings. When Dad told me in front of everyone that he hoped I got SA'd because then I could see people for the true evil they are because I wanted to see the good in people first, you said nothing to stop his remark. In fact, you only encouraged it and agreed with him. When all our close family and friends were messaging me berating and bullying me to treat you better or be the bigger man because you are my mom, you said nothing to stop them. You only added fuel to the fire. When I told you I was moving out, you cried and begged me to stay. But when everyone else was screaming at me to hurry up and leave because I was only hurting the family, you said nothing to stop them and refused to listen to me when I told you it was happening. You like to pretend that you're the innocent one in this messed up situation. You got everyone mad at me for wanting to grow up and start my own family. For years, you treated me like a child and belittled my feelings whenever I tried to talk to you. You refused to allow me in the house so many times, but in the same breath would berate me for not coming over more. You wouldn't accept 3 hours of my time on a holiday because it wasn't good enough for you. Even though my partner's families were fine with whatever we could give, even if it wasn't on that specific holiday but the next day or two. You told me that I was just playing house and hanging out with my fake family my entire relationship. You refused to accept me for who I was and tried to convince me that I am not what I say I am. Even through all the verbal and mental abuse, I still tried for years to compromise and be the person you thought I was. Even when my mental health was so low that I thought about ending it all, I tried to be there for you guys because you guys convinced me I was just sad. When I was battling with severe depression, I did everything to be how you wanted, but it wasn't enough and you said you didn't recognize me anymore because of how much I changed and you hated the person I have become, and you never missed an opportunity to voice your opinion. But that will no longer be the case. I am done putting your needs ahead of mine. My child is growing up and I know that I will never treat her the way you have been treating me. I will never belittle her the way you have with me, especially when she gets a partner the way you expect me to because I'm not toxic like you. I will treat her and everyone I meet with kindness and compassion because the only evil I have seen is the evil you have shown me, a parent to their child. You hate who I have become and think I'm using you? Good. You won't have to worry about me because I'll never ask you for a goddamn thing anymore. I love my child more than anything and she deserves a parent who can hold their head high and not compromise on their mental health. I love my partner with every fiber of my being and has been / is the best thing that has ever happened to me and I'll forever be grateful to have them in my life. I deserve to be happy and loved and free of guilt for every little mistake or favor or plan I have made. I love you, Mom, but I have come to despise everything you have become. I will forever cherish the memories of my childhood, but I will not have anything to do with you anymore. I hope you have the life you deserve. This is goodbye and I hope to whatever God is out there that our paths never cross again. What is hell on earth? My friend's stepfather taped him ever since he was 6 until around his 8th year. His biological father died of a work-related accident and his mother married this stepfather that she knew from her hometown a few years after. That fatherly figure soon turned out to be a monster that was eager to put his hands on anything that moves. My friend's mother was unaware of what the stepfather was doing, as the stepfather threatened to take my friend's life as well as his mother's life if my friend told anyone what was going on. He was in an ever worse situation after getting bullied. He wanted to take his life, but his mother was the only reason he didn't want to do it, and kept pushing on through it all. He started slowly making a few friends that helped him cope a little. On his 10th birthday he was left limping after his stepfather went all out on him in the worst possible way. He was forced to go to school the day after and was unable to sit at all, unable to move, but he endured it and shrugged it off as an accident so that no one finds out what happens. He saw what the man can do. He doesn't want his mother hurt or worse because he told on this monster. Even the bullies stopped making fun of him after seeing that he didn't care anymore about what they did to him. More uninterested in bullying an inanimate object than pity. A few older senior students who were a mix of 16 and 18-year-old caught up to what happened and pulled him aside one day to ask what happened. They all sat down and talked. Although they knew what was happening, they merely asked to confirm what's going on. My friend who told them to not spread it as it means life and death to him and especially his mother let out all the information out of pure fear from about 5 or 6 behemoths towering around him. The seniors were not amused. Not one bit. They were all hellbent on making this man regret his life choices, and make him regret it they did. They stalked him, cornered him and afterwards went completely berserk on him, putting stuff into his back door and laying into his manhood until a sac exploded. He was rushed to the hospital. Both his sacs were ruptured and are damaged beyond salvation. His back door was ripped to the size of a 22-centimeter ball, and he lost about 70% of his teeth. They caught him at the brink of death and managed to keep him alive somehow. The next day they told his mom of what happened, and what he did to him. She wasn't just filing for divorce. She took everything he ever owned, all the money he made, and afterwards had him put behind bars. With a little birdie that told every inmate inside of what he did. Last he heard of him was that he was being used quite literally as the prison's soap dispenser while in the pen. He came out roaming the streets, shunned by everyone, and they still regularly tell people of who he is and what he did to publicly shame him for what he did, losing him any job possible and barred from many establishments, and was regularly hissed at and yelled at to go away like a stray dog. There was no mercy for him. What is something that instantly killed the crush you had on someone? My ex once wanted me to hang out in the bathroom while he was showering, so he could tell me about his day. After a few minutes the most awful smell to ever grace my nostrils appeared and I started coughing. In between trying to breathe and trying to ask what happened, he interrupted me and laughed saying sorry babe I couldn't wait any longer and he showed me that he took a dump in the shower. I was pretty grossed out but accidents happen I guess. Then he started smashing it with his foot so it would go down the drain. Oh don't worry babe, I do this all the time. I was done at that point. I had a crush on this guy in my church for years as a teenager. I started liking him at like 12 or 13 and was undyingly in love, or so I thought. When I turned 18, I was about to move out and he asked me on a lunch date. That night when I got home, my mom was on the phone kinda bragging to her friend that I finally got the date I wanted for so long. Her friend was like, you need to keep your daughter away from him. Turns out he was babysitting for a neighbor, a family I actually babysat for and a family in our church too, and he took one of the little girls into the bathroom and made her take off her diaper or panties or something and was touching her when the older sister walked in. The family moved away and he was in a very complicated legal case after that. I don't know the results because the family moved away and I moved to college, and nobody heard anything. Even if it wasn't true though, I lost all crushes and anything else for the loser. Back when I was in school I liked this girl who was all unique and stood up for herself. Just a real character. One day though I was sitting there waiting for my class to start and I overheard her talking about how she chased down a bird, caught it, then squeezed it till it threw up. It was totally in a joking manner too, she was laughing about it. I didn't even look at her the rest of the year. Shit's not okay. It's okay to admire birds, and handle the, if you're gentle but you gotta be effed up to squeeze one till it throws up. Effing a hole. Complete and utter laziness. There was a girl in my class once I was crushing on mad hard. She was really cute and I didn't have the courage to actually have a conversation with her. Fast forward to the end of the semester, we are doing a group project and we wind up in the same group. After days and days of trying to find a good time for all of us to meet, we eventually meet at the library just a few days before the project is due. I'm already mad going in, because I've been ready to get started for a while now. She shows up, sits down, and contributes nothing the entire time. Doesn't chime in with anything useful, doesn't offer to do anything, just sits there. We eventually agree to do our own parts on our own and bring it all together later on. She was supposed to do a few slides and nothing more. I don't think she even had to research anything. Just take what we already did and make it look good. The night before, she still doesn't contribute a goddamn thing and I ended up having to BS her slides last minute. Didn't exactly have a crush on her after that. She told me all about her fantastic exciting life, but the more I got to know her, the more holes I noticed in her tales. Turned out she was just an adept pathological liar, and I literally didn't know her at all. The girl she had painted a picture of, across 3 weeks and multiple dates was entirely fictional. The magic died when I asked about a small inconsistency, giving her the benefit of the doubt, and she blew up at me, turned everything I had told her about my life into an attack on my character, and then acted as if she said it for my benefit. All that just to deflect from my question. She casually mentioned how many guys she has dated to get free perks. She called it breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that's exactly what it was. She would set up multiple dates on the same days, so she would be wined and dined. I was casually dating this guy, as in, we had only recently met and only been on a couple of dates, back in college. He was educated, had a good job in his own place, polite, etc. Basically, no immediate red flags. One day, he wanted me to come over for a casual pizza night at his place. I had just finished up a 12+ hour long day due to my scheduling combination of non-stop classes and a part-time job. I was exhausted, and did not feel like spending nearly an hour doing my hair and makeup to get all dolled up for such a casual date. I texted him something along the lines of, I had a long day, can we keep it casual tonight? I hope you're okay with yoga pants and a hoodie. He responded with, actually, no, that's not okay. When you're spending time with me, you should always make a full effort to look your absolute best. Then, he started trying to tell me what to wear. Something along the lines of why don't you put on a pretty dress, make yourself look nice for me? It was one of the weirdest conversations I've ever had. After he made the dress comment, I simply stopped responding. I never spoke to him again. He kept on texting me for a while, asking what was wrong and why I had just disappeared. I honestly don't think he realized what he said was so off-putting. I was with a dude very seriously for a couple years. It was slow at first but he started by suggesting what to wear and it went to him full on picking out my outfits every day to match and color code to his including accessories. I normally don't care what I wear. I even had my mom pick out my clothes for me in middle school so I didn't think it was a big deal. He turned into the most controlling and abusive man I have ever been with. It lasted until he punched me so hard in the face that I went flying into an aquarium and broke that, got cut by the glass and had my nose broken. It was all over a scarf. Our pet rat had dragged it into his cage to make a soft little bed and he thought I put it in there to be mean to him. Had a crush on a girl on/off for like 3 years in high school. We were great friends the whole way through though. Anyway, during Christmas of my first year of college her sister sent me a Snapchat of this girl I liked lying on the floor, practically in tears, screaming it's the wrong one. I responded with something along the lines of "OF, what happened?" Turns out her mom got her a PS4 for Christmas, but it was the Uncharted edition. She wanted the Last of Us edition. She liked both games and was going to get both of them anyway at some point. That's when 3 years of built-up romantic feelings just fell out of me like Taco Bell with laxatives. In the mid-2000s, I had a few community college courses with a good friend of mine. In our English class, there was this girl that he was immediately smitten with. They started hanging out all the time. I'm pretty sure they might have actually been effing, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyways, one of our assignments was to write a paper about our biggest hero and to present it to the class. I wrote about my World War II veteran grandfather. My friend wrote about his music teacher from high school, and then she gets up and starts talking about Hitler. Later, our professor said his favorite moment of the year was the look of absolute horror on our faces as she spoke. Whatever he had with her ended instantly.